Hi guys, it is Sunday evening, Sunday the 22nd of February, coming to you live from London, London, UK, obviously, due to the accent. It's a little bit past 9 o'clock, which is cool. The dog's in the back. Can you see him? He's just like hanging out there. How's your week been? How has it been? Well, for me, it's been one of like, it's raining again. And then, oh, look, it's raining again. It has done nothing but rain in the UK. And the good days that we have had have been so far and few between. And I'm not feeling well tonight. What the hell? I'm due to fly in 2 weeks and I am not feeling well. But we're here. We're live. And for one night only. No, we're not going full Monty. We are bringing in Virginia. We're bringing in my lovely co-host, the very handsome Michael, who's become like... He's become like my second podcaster hubby now. Let's bring him in. Hello, Michael. How are you doing?
Hey, love. How are you? Your weather sounds like ours. Shit. I looked out, snowflakes size of quarters. I'm like, I am so ready for spring. I am over this winter blues.
We've not even had a winter. All we've had is rain. I am so done with that.
Mother Nature is on some PMS stuff or something. I don't know what it is. It's just I look outside because we was 70 degrees the other day. Me and the dogs was out, and I'm like, don't get used to it. Don't get used to it. And
the thing is, right? You just like we have had 50 days of rain, 50, and it's like if it doesn't rain during the night, morning, afternoon, or evening. It's just, you're just like, oh my God. And then you think it's not going to rain and it rains again. I am so sick of living on an island. I'm telling you.
Yeah. They say, if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. And it's like, I'm like, but it's like, I was talking to Dave the other day, even, because Dave is like one of the fans like Steve, you know what I'm saying? We got such a great little group. And I was talking to him and he's like, Michael hits 50 degrees and, out here in Vegas, and Vegas is always warm.
Vegas, baby.
It's it. I'm thinking, damn, he's going to get some insulated underwear or something other because, and he's fighting being sick, just like Val and everybody else. It's just, it's been a hard winter on everybody. And I'm like,
let's be honest, it's that time of year. But we have a show, and we have a show to do, and we have last week's show was really great with Paul Allen. We had a great time. Paul had a great time.
oh, yeah.
And hopefully, I'm sure he will come back again. We have a couple of really good shows coming up towards
Just like a woman,
yeah.
shoes and clothes.
All right, there in March and April, but we're going to go and deal with this one. And as I say, I'm not feeling 100% tonight, so please bear with me, guys.
No.
We're going to look at the lies we tell ourselves, and this is a really, really interesting subject, because I don't know about you, every single one of us does this. We all bullshit ourselves or lie to ourselves about things that either we don't want to face, we're not ready to deal with it, or we don't want to believe it, or we're hoping it's going to happen. So we're living in hope. And as Jim Carrey once said, hope is a beggar. So
Pretty much.
This is something that, when I've been in relationships, and I've been hoping it's going to last, hoping it's going to work. It's got to work. It's going to work out. They love me. That's one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves. But they love me.
They can't live without me.
Like we've been together for all this time. They're not really going to split up with me. They're not really going to want someone else. And then they do.
She'll never go nowhere. She can't get a better deal.
Yeah.
Or he can't get a better deal. I'm the best they'll ever do. And
that's the lie, isn't it? But the actual truth is something more behind it. And the thing that's what we were looking at, how this came about, this subject tonight, is that we were talking in the week, and we were talking about how there are people we know, and also ourselves in our life, that don't actually want to see things for how they really are. They actually only want to see it for what they've actually said, or they think in themselves, isn't it? They're like, I've got this image of it, I've got this vision of it, I don't want to believe. And I guess maybe some people hold on to that because it gets them through, or because they truly want it to happen. But sometimes you have to wake up and smell the coffee, right?
Yeah, it's I thought of things, like I said, after we talked about, and a lot of times, the older I get and stuff, and I'm like, I'll think back to what my grandparents told me, or my mom and dad told me, and just older people, your elders, and it's being drunk on delusion. And it's everything is fine. You got your blinders on, and you just keep moving forward with that delusion that you have, and this self-portrait that you painted of your life. It's like, oh, if I imagine it, it's going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
If I hope hard enough, if I pray for it, it's going to happen. But at the end of the day, you're drunk on delusion. And I tell people, ain't nothing no worse than the hangover from being delusionally drunk. And you wake up one morning and you're like, holy fuck, I cannot believe that I was so wrapped up in my own shit.
Yeah.
That I cannot see the real world for what it is. And it's this morning, it's kind of break the wall.
It's like that picture that we've got up of the red pill and the blue pill. Which one do you want to take? And which one is going to tell you the truth? And the thing is, I'm going to bring up some statements tonight, which I think we've all said in our time. And probably the most famous one that women have said throughout generations and men have learned to hate, which is, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, how are you? I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm all good. Don't
mind the pain down my arm and the chronic stomach ache that I have from the stress, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
And that's like this morning, I kind of got ambushed with a baby, and I'm like, I feel for this little fella because the world is so uncertain. But in the parents' eyes, this little one's like, oh, everything's going to be great for this. You know what I'm saying? And we always want the best for our kids. But I track news worldwide, and I'm thinking, this poor little fellow's got an uphill battle. And I don't want to sound jaded when it comes to like people in the world, but it's not getting no better. And that's a lie they're telling themselves right now, because they're blissfully ignorant on how bad this world is, because they just got a new one and it's new and fresh, and I'm like.
But do you also think that's a way of like, some people Some people like are in a bubble and they really don't want to see things as they really are. But when I'm bringing up, I'm fine. You know, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're had an argument and they say to you afterwards, "Are you all right?" And you go, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine." It's a way of cutting someone off straight away. I don't want to talk to you. You can't go any further from that. And also, it can also mean, you know, it's a reflex straight away. Women, a lot of strong women have used these two words over the years so that they can just get on with things, because literally, like if they're a mother and they're a wife and they're completely overloaded and overwhelmed, people go, "Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, everything's all right. You know, I'm coping." When actually you're not. Why is it we say that to ourselves? Why do we say, when we know it's a lie, "I'm not fine actually"? Why is it? I mean, I remember Meghan Markle came up with that. She was asked on the famous, I think it was South African tour, how she was, and she said, "Well, thank you for asking, because I'm not fine, and everyone seems to think I am." So yeah, I'm just wondering, like, why is it we tell ourselves that? Oh, I just pressed the wrong button. Sorry, bring Michael in. Why do we tell ourselves that?
I think it's, like I said, it's a delusion, and if you tell yourself you're fine, deep down psychologically, you know, like Bill Gossett, it's a coping mechanism that we cope with. And but I've always heard from, like, growing up with other men around, if your wife or girlfriend says it's all good, we're fine, you best go out and start a fight with a bear, because you're going to come out better off, because everything is not good. And I've seen men, "Oh, I can do that. She said we're good." I said, "Dude, you're an idiot. If she's saying you're good, there's going to be a good fight and a lot of fallout. Something is going nuclear later. You know, blissfully ignorant." And it's like, I don't know what to tell these men who, you know, like I said, a lot of men, I always said, you know, men are easily trainable, pretty simple creatures. Women are a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Complex. You know, men most of the time, like, "Oh, it's good. Everything's good here." You know, but if a woman tells you that she's good or everything is fine, you're fucked.
I think it's also because it's a way of coping. Like, you know, I've been in relationships where you've had an argument. So you've had an argument, you've had a fight, you go to bed, you're in the same bed as each other, one's on one side, one's on the other. And there's like, "I'm fine. Just leave it. I'm fine." And or "It's fine.
Go to bed mad, wake up mad. Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine." So I've been in relationships where I've been too scared to say anything, too scared to say to somebody, "Actually, no, it's not fine." And I've just gone, "No, it's fine. It's fine," because I'm lying to myself. And
but human beings don't want conflict. So,
but also it's a survival, isn't it? It's almost like saying, "I can cope. It's all good."
Like I said, I think a lot of it is that we're programmed not to want conflict. So if you're telling them things are not good, then you just, you start unraveling bigger problems. The small problem could lead to a bigger problem that you do not want to deal with, or don't have the energy at the time to deal with.
Sure. And as I say, that that I think "I'm fine" is probably the most famous way of saying. The other one that we tend to say quite a lot, and we lie to ourselves, is like, or maybe we don't lie, but I think sometimes they can be, "I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when the kids have grown up. I'll be happy when I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when." When are you going to be happy? Like, why are you putting your life on hold, waiting to be happy? Because it's like the moving target in all of that is happiness. So I'm not happy, but I'll be happy when I lose weight. Well, we'll all be happy probably when we lose weight. We'll all be happy when we make more money. But it's like life is happening right now while we're waiting to be happy. There's another one that comes up. "I know my marriage isn't great. I know my relationship isn't great, but it's fine. Right? I'll sort it out. One of these days I'll sort it out, and wake up and smell the coffee. If you're saying those things to yourself now and to other people, it's not good, and it's the writing is on the wall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they kick the can down the road, and if they put it off, it's a problem they'll deal with. It's a tomorrow issue. And I used to tell myself, I'd like, no. And a lot of times, like with the boxes here, I'm redoing my studio, and I'll deal with it later box. And a lot of times, and that's a lie,
right.
Because I'll never deal with it later. I procrastinate, forever so long, And it's like, that's just shit I'll deal with a later box. And, and we do that in relationships. We do that in friendships. We do that with our job. The lies will tell, like with work, you'll go in and you say, oh, they'll give me a promotion one day. They'll see my worth because they don't want conflict at work.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, if I work harder, they'll give me a raise.
We say one of these days. One of these days. I'm gonna, one day soon it's gonna happen. The other word is I don't care.
A vision board. Remember, I made the first time I ever saw one of them. We're Gen X, and we're unapologetic for it. But when I started dating, when I was like, 18, 19 years old, and you'd go into a girl's room, they'd have this vision board. This is what I'm going to achieve one day. If I put it on this board, and it's like, or a hope chest. Yeah. Everything goes into a hope chest, hopes and dreams.
It doesn't mean that it won't happen, but it's like, I think we also, and this is a very, I say this a lot. I'm just being realistic. I say this all the time because
realistically speaking,
realism can be wisdom, right? It can also be self-protection in a sensible raincoat. And if you're being realistic, do you have a fear of disappointment? Because way you're not leaving yourself open to what, I think that's a saying I hear from, look, I'm just being realistic, or being realistic, or, we hear that one a lot as well. And I think one thing I would say about when we lie to ourselves, we're not being realistic. No. We are putting a protection, or I'll deal with that tomorrow. I'll face it tomorrow. I'll talk about it tomorrow, because we don't want to deal with it today. And it's like, instead of actually going, today's the day I'm going to lose weight. Today's the day I'm going to leave that relationship. Today's the day I'm going to do that. We don't do that. We hide behind these kind of sayings, which are lies.
And some of the biggest lies that's ever get told to ourselves is from ourselves.
Yeah.
And because if people tell me I'll go to the gym tomorrow, well, Planet Fitness is open 24/7. And and you've heard me tell the boys and the kids here, and Carlene's heard me tell them, fantasy versus reality. Get out of your Walt Disney make-believe world and deal with reality. I know reality sucks, but you cannot hide behind a fantasy your whole life.
No.
Because if you live in Wonderland, you're not Alice. You're not going to pop out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and sometimes, like I said, I look at them and they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, well, one, you're stupid. Two, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Oh, but it's okay. Oh, and when I hear them tell me, oh, but it's okay, it makes my blood pressure go up, because I know at the end of the day, they're lying to themselves. They're lying to everybody around them. And I'll tell them, it's better to have an ugly truth than a pretty lie.
But sometimes there is a point sometimes that we have to do that white lie, right? We have to. That's to someone else perhaps, but to ourselves, because we're not mentally ready to face it. We're not mentally ready to deal with it. We're not emotionally or perhaps financially ready to deal with it, because if you think about the word I'm fine, we're fine. Fine is the most socially acceptable form of denial, really. It keeps conversation short as well. Like, I'm fine. It's fine.
Good.
I'm good. And it keeps people feeling comfortable, and it stops us from having to admit how we really are feeling. We're hurt, we're tired, we're lonely, we're at breaking point. And I often think that fine is a way of saying to someone, I don't want to burden you. I don't want to
Yeah.
like tell you all my stuff. I don't want to go into it, but actually I'm not fine. And I think that those two words, it's fine, go along with I love you. They can be the most deadlier.
If somebody tells me that goes back to what I tell everybody has an agenda, good or bad. And when somebody comes at me with them words, I love you, it's about like when I see a used car salesman coming. Oh, it's a $1 car grandma drove it to church. I know they're lying. I'm like, no. You need to back the hell up. You're not getting in my wallet. You stay over there, I'll be my own judge. But like I said, I hate them words. Now, I have to really, really know somebody for me to take the I love you seriously. Because if not, it throws up that bullshit meter and they get a whole different Michael than if they'd have just left it alone. Because
Sure.
I don't want somebody to, and what is the old saying we have here in Appalachia? Don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, that's crude. Some people's into that. I was like, well, they might be, but I'm not. I'd rather somebody to be honest with me, treat it like a Band-Aid, rip it. I'm trying not to cuss. It's been a long morning already, and I'm like, but
I get you.
Yeah.
I mean, the other
I'm
thing
like,
is when you go into I'm fine and we say it isn't that bad, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I've had worse. So if you're in a relationship or like you and I've been married, divorced, etc.
Okay.
And
the lawyer's like, oh, it'll all work out. We'll deal with it later. When a solicitor or a lawyer tells you it's good.
Minimalizing is a
Oh,
survival skill. Like literally when we minimize something, it's because we don't want to bring it out to how big it is. And if you admit something truly hurts you, then you've got to really feel it. So
Then
like
you're giving it power.
Feel the pain, right? You've got to feel the pain. And then you say, this is another one I've heard my parents say it, and I've ended up saying it as time goes on. There are worse people out there having terrible things happening to them. Other people have had it worse. But here's a true point. Trauma isn't a competition.
No.
And if your body still tightens or goes like that, when you remember something, if your heart still reacts, it mattered to you. And pretending it didn't matter, and they go, I don't care. Oh, I don't care anymore. I say that all the time. I don't care. Most of the time, 90% of the time, I don't care. But there are times that I do say it, Michael, and I do care. But I say it because it blocks, it gives you that protection, and I don't want to go there.
And I'll tell you one that talking about that when your parents talk about stuff like that, the biggest lie they ever told me growing up is you better eat that because there's kids starving in Africa.
Sure.
And I'm like, and I grew up thinking there's a whole lot worse people over me. So I probably need to eat something I don't like. And I told myself, well, if
where's
I don't
that
eat,
noise coming from? What is that?
Let me probably a radio on. Let me mute this real quick.
You need to turn it down because I can hear that coming through.
Yeah, I forgot it.
How could you forget that? Like seriously, like Scotty with his phone. The other thing is we tend to, one of the lies we tend to tell ourselves is we should be over it by now. And whether that's grief, being betrayed, illness. Now that's something I really understand when people go, aren't you well now? Aren't you better? You seem to be ill all the time. And you go, oh, I'm getting better, or I'm fine, or I'm over it. And none of them move on a schedule. So grief, betrayal, illness, heartbreak, none of them move like that. Yet we get shamed, or we shame ourselves for still feeling what we feel. And the word should, and I like this because I remember when you're in a relationship, you should do this, you should do that. The word should becomes a weapon, and it suggests weakness when there's simply humanity. So what I want to say that is literally, if you're falling apart and you don't feel well and you're grieved or you're ill or you've had a broken heart and people go, your marriage ended weeks ago, are you not over it? You should be out dating someone now. You should be out going, doing this, that. If you're ill, well, you're not better. I thought you'd be better by now. You've been ill for weeks. Another one. Oh, they died. Somebody said to me when Henry died, I remember it so well. you should be over it by now. I cringe when I see you put things up about Henry, because I'm like, wow, you're still not over him. And maybe get yourself another dog, because that'll help you get over it. And I thought to myself, wow, seriously, that's what it's come to.
Trauma is not a game that you try to win. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to win at the game of trauma. And I remember how much he was impacted by Henry's death. Henry was a good basset, and everybody told her, "Oh, get you another basset." She ended up with a bass hole, which he's a good boy. Huckleberry can probably hear me in the background, but Huckleberry is a really different dog than what Henry was, and you cannot. And I tell them, they say, "Oh, they're not babies, or they're not your children."
Grief is grief, no matter what it is.
Yeah, that's it. And I tell them, these are my fur-legged kids, and most of the time they disappoint me less. And I got one, he'll dig in the trash, and it don't matter if I whip him up a flip flop or whatever. Every night I go to bed, he's like, "All right, let's go to bed. Love you, Dad." And he means it. And so I get it.
I also think some people don't understand. Some people deal with grief very, very differently, and grief is very personable. There is no right way. There's no wrong way to do it. And grief can be over a death. It can be over a marriage or a relationship breakup.
Yeah.
And we've seen, using Scotty, let's bring this, Scotty in, for example. He has literally, his marriage ending was so difficult for him to deal with it, where other people go inshallah and they keep everything inside and they show nothing outwardly at all. And people go, are they all right? They're not even showing anything. They're not showing any kind of, a reaction at all. And what I wanted to say about this, though, is, when someone says to you, are you not over it? It gets in your head. And then you go, well, maybe I should be over it. Maybe I'll shut up about it. I tell you what, I won't talk about it anymore. When I meet people, when I talk to people, I just won't mention it anymore. I'll just go quiet. So then we start taking it inwardly, and then we just don't talk about it anymore. So, or we'll only talk about it to those that we actually trust, and those that we can't trust, we lie to. We lie and go, yeah, I'm fine. It's all good.
It's almost like they guilt you into being quiet. And and sometimes, and I know people that I can talk openly to that don't judge me. And sometimes when I talk to them people, it seems like I unload everything that has been pent up. And and sometimes, and like I said, the breaks worthwhile. Sometimes if somebody's having a bad day, they'll come in there like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "That's what I'm here for. I got wide shoulders. Tell me what your problem is." And, and believe it or not, you can ask Wendy, sometimes I'm a pretty good listener. Sometimes I talk a lot, but sometimes when things are really going bad, I've got big ears and big shoulders. And sometimes that's, and that's what a person needs, is that person that you can unload.
We all need that. We all need that. The other thing is, and I want to get through these because obviously before we end, the other one we tend to tell ourselves as well, this is who I am. This is who I am, and people got to accept me for who I am. If they don't like it, then that's just really tough. We tell ourselves, this is who I am. And sometimes we're accepting ourselves for that. Sometimes it's, if I put that image, and I'm guilty, we've all had that persona. If I put out this image that this is who I am, they can't see what's really underneath going on. We tend to cling to old versions of ourselves, Michael, because they're familiar, and growth requires letting go of narratives that we once protected, like these lies that we're telling us. It's like, oh my God, I should be better by now. I should be over this marriage. Why aren't I dating? Why have I not got better? Oh my God, do you think this, and our head starts to go down a rabbit hole. And sometimes we start to really believe the stories we're telling ourselves.
Sometimes you create a false narrative to help you get through things. And like I said, that's another coping mechanism. You start drawing a portrait of your life and where you think it should go, especially when you come out of a traumatic event. And, and everybody grieves differently. No two people on this planet grieves the same. It might be similar, but not exactly the same.
Sure.
Loss of a parent, loss of a pet, a loss of a spouse. And, and I have learned in my old age and wisdom, it's best not to judge because you do not know. You're not in, you know what I'm saying? You're not in that person's skin. You're not, betrayal, like, and they're all saying the best way to get over one is get under another one. That person might have a big heart. They might have give everything to that person. And it's not that easy for them to be that shallow to just move on.
No, they can't just get with someone else. And let's look at that marriage relationship scenario, shall we?
Oh, I was happy to get out of mine. Hell, I was doing cartwheels in the court.
I was my second marriage. I was married for almost 6 years, and
oh hell, that's just a practice marriage.
And I did not want my marriage to fail, and I loved him very much. I didn't want him to fail, and I told myself that if we try harder, it'll change, right? Maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, or what if I, maybe if I come across like this, or maybe we need to sit down and talk. Maybe we should go to counseling. Maybe we should try this. We have all these narratives, and sometimes they work. Sometimes they absolutely work, absolutely. But we overfunction and we overgive. And it's like if you're in a relationship that is like on Groundhog Day, and it's just like the same shit is happening all the time, and you're like, I don't know what else to do. I've been over. I've tried to, if I give enough, if I'm loving enough, if I help enough, if I back off, if I don't say anything else, if I compromise, if I compensate, then things will change. They'll love me. And it's like, you cannot love someone into becoming who they don't want to be. So if you're with someone and you're thinking, if they give up cigarettes, it would be different. If they stop drinking, if they didn't go around with their mates who bitch about everything all the time, or maybe if they just stayed at home a bit more with me. You can't change a person to be someone you want. That person has to change and want to change, and actually meet you halfway to have a successful relationship.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, after you get a certain age, it is hard to change ingrained behavior. And I have seen that even in my own life. I get it. I smoke, and I get it from everybody. Michael, for your health, you need to change. And and a lot of them I say this. No, one day I'll give it up.
One day.
Is
that one of these days again?
One of these days, I'll outgrow it. And I told him, and I tell him, I outgrowed all the other bad habits. But the only vice that I have left is smoking or maybe having a drink occasionally. And I'm like, I'm doing a whole lot better than I was in my 20s. I'm not getting blackout drunk no more. Not wondering where I parked my car. Wondering where half my clothes is. But that's another lie. Even in your 20s, when you're out doing all of this stuff that could get you in bad trouble, it's like, oh, I'm invincible. They'll never catch me. I'm different, says every person who's ever got charges. Oh, I'm better than this guy. I'm not that dumb.
Oh, I'm better than this woman. Like,
It's like, I can get away with it. I'm smarter than this person. And a lot of times I've seen people do that. They have lied to themselves and get so full of their ego. Mm-hmm. They think they're the smartest person they've ever met.
Well, I think that's also the lie, isn't it? It's the lie. That a lot of people have to live with because they cannot be who they really are. And the one thing you and I probably understand with this is when we say we don't care what people think, actually we do. Most of us care what people think.
I have to really give a shit about a person to care what they think.
But some people, we are, as human beings, we're wired to belong to someone. We want to belong. And we set out this thing, I don't care. And I have to be honest, sometimes I've got to a point now in my life where I don't care as much. I really don't.
But you know what? What's really bad about that?
I can just cut someone off. But what I wanted to bring up the point is, why do we say we don't care when we do? And the reason we do that is because it is a risk. because
Yes.
people will see our fragility, our vulnerability. So if I put this like it is, well, I'm fine. These are all defense mechanisms. These
They
are all
are.
things to stop us getting hurt.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you, but like I said, a lot of this stuff, like I said, it's been sitting here. I've had a week to think about it. And it's like, the only bad thing is when you really don't care what people think. People are herd animals. And the ones that I do care about what they think is when they have a negative opinion of me, it hurts worse than the other billion people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? If somebody I really care about and respects, takes a negative opinion of me, that breaks my heart. But, all the rest of the people can say, I don't like him or he shouldn't do that. It's like, who cares?
Is that because you put the wall up, right?
That's it.
And as we've got, I mean, like, I wrote certain points down because I think about all the things we say every day, not just you and I, everybody. I'm fine. It's all good. It's going to change. I don't care. We come up with this. It's part of the English language. It's part of it's common day conversation. And one of the ones that you and I will honestly agree with, we tell ourselves this is love.
Oh, yeah.
We tell ourselves that they love us, right? It is love, but I love them. And I don't want to split up with them because I love them and they love me. And it's love. And the thing is, sometimes it's just familiarity. Like, we all know these relationships, they're always arguing with each other. I've been there myself. They're always arguing. They're always fighting. They're always like, one's telling the other one, I've had enough. I want to leave. I've had enough. I want this marriage. I want this relationship over. I'm going to leave them. I've had enough. It's coming. It's definitely coming. And yet they still stay, whether it's for finance or whatever reason. But sometimes it's familiarity. They don't want to be on their own. They don't want to take that risk out there. And sometimes they grew up in situations in their family where that's what a relationship was like. It was chaotic. It was toxic. They're used to it. And sometimes people can mistake that for passion. Sometimes it's attachment or fear of abandonment, or the comfort of staying where we are, because leaving that scenario is going to be more painful than absolutely staying with it. So love should not destroy you. It should expand you. And Michael, how many people do we know that say, oh, I'm staying because I love them. They love me.
As quick as I hear that, all the flags start going up. I'm like, these people are delusional. And, bickering and beating and chaos and carnage is not a healthy relationship.
No.
Now I'm not trying not to read the comments, but I have seen communication is key. I have said that for the first time I've ever been on Wicked Women. Talk to your partner. And if you cannot have an open communication without carnage and chaos, bickering and beatings and coffee cups flying through the house, that is a toxic relationship. Pack your shit and leave, man or woman. And toxic. And I told him that, toxic thing coming out of people do not have a gender role. I've seen toxic men. I have seen toxic women. And when you have that happen, it's like, the best thing to do is it's not going to get no better. Toxic is toxic.
Well, we seem to have a thing that, and a lot of people waste years, good years of their life, me I'm included, I did it as well, staying in a really bad relationship. And because I thought I couldn't function without them. I thought I couldn't be without them. And the other thing that comes along is I'm not good enough, or they're not good enough. Or so this one is a root system, and it's like, it's usually a voice going, but you deserve better, and maybe you do.
Oh, yeah.
Or I should be better at this. I'm not good enough to get that job. I'm not good enough to be their girlfriend. I remember being married and going out with my husband, and he was a good-looking guy. And he
like me, okay.
He used to get a lot of attention, and I used to think I didn't feel like attractive next door to him. I felt like, why is he with me? Why is he with me when he can have all these other lovely ladies? I'm not anything special. And it's like, where the hell did that come from in me? why did that suddenly come from? Because, and you know what I think it is, it's very much fear and vulnerability, insecurity. And I think until we get to a certain point in our life as we get older, I actually think that we have all those stupid things going around our head, and it's not till we're older, Michael, that we stop caring about, we stop carrying them around and start, letting them go.
That's it. Yeah, I always said, if I could go back and tell 20-year-old Michael the things that 53-year-old Michael knows, I'd rule the world. You know what I'm saying? Just of
Sure.
the ideologies and just the little, and the first thing I tell myself is be true to yourself. Go with your gut. Don't go around and put on this, like the same lie. A lot of times men will tell themselves, I'm the toughest thing on the planet. People needs to see me as this. People needs to see how big and how loud I can be. And I have learned in life, it ain't the big loud people that you worry about. It's that quiet guy that sits in the corner.
Yeah.
That's the guy you worry about. But the lie that we tell ourselves when we hear growing up, oh, he's pretty loud, I'm gonna mess with him. But like I said, and if you ever see it on the news, I don't know about there, but here, it's never the loud guy that wipes out the whole damn neighborhood. You always hear the same thing. It's like, oh, it was the quiet guy. I think he went to church. He was very quiet, mowed his grass, petted his dog, never heard a word. But that's what I tell 20-year-old Michael, if 53-year-old Michael could go back and tell him, don't stay, because in your mind, society says, oh, once you're married, you got to stay married. You got to make it work.
I think there's a lot of us had that growing up from our generation.
That's it.
That our generation and the generations before us definitely had that. That we have to stay, we have to keep it as much as we can. And sometimes the other thing I remember being told you should be grateful.
Oh yeah.
And then you go away and you go, really? I should be grateful. I'm grateful that I haven't cheated on you. Be grateful that I'm bringing this money in. Be grateful that I'm still with you. And you go away thinking to yourself, I should be, people are poison with words. I always say to people, when you come out with something, be really careful, because you can't take it back and it's out there forever.
That's what I'm saying. Words have power. And I've seen people speak bad things into their life, into existence or whatever. And I'm like, words are spells. Yeah, I've told people that and they're like, oh, no, it ain't. I said, yeah, it's an incantation. Yeah, you're basically bringing bad shit to yourself. I don't even like thinking bad thoughts. I'm so superstitious when it comes to stuff like that. I'm like, I don't even want to think about it.
Well, you came up with a good point about, people that big themselves up.
That's it.
And you suddenly think, I can't take them on. They're gonna kill me. And it's like, we are our own worst enemies. We need to believe in ourselves a lot more and listen to ourselves and actually go, who really am I? And what do I really want? And am I worthy of this? And what do I really deserve? Because we tend to put up with situations and people that we don't really deserve in our lives. And then what we do is, I remember when I was dating, I was in an incredibly toxic relationship, and he was unfaithful during it. And I remember thinking, why am I staying in this relationship? Why am I not just walking out the door and, leaving it behind? Because there was a part of me that said, yeah, but it's what you're used to. Your dad had been unfaithful. You had seen this before. It's a familiar, this is what happens in relationships. This is how it works. And so I think sometimes we need to have a very good conversation with each other and say, don't dim ourselves, don't become small, don't let our voice get softer, and don't become palatable to someone. Because if someone loves you, they love you no matter if you're ill, if you're sick, if you're poor, if you're rich, if you're having a bad day or a good day. And they certainly don't walk away from you and leave you with that, well, what was all that about? I think that, Michael, you and I have seen a lot of people recently go through this thing with relationships and marriages.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, these people destroy other people.
That they do, and and the person doing the destroying, they don't care. They don't care. They're out there living their best life. They're waiting for somebody else to clean up the fucking carnage that they left. And that's, like I said, and it's kind of my catchphrase now. I've had people message me, "Oh, pay by the hour, cut it with a dog." I said, the dog won't break your fucking heart, and you're not paying for the sex; you're paying for him to leave.
Yeah, but then they kind of go away, don't they? And they say, "I obviously wasn't good enough for him. They obviously didn't love me. They obviously didn't want me. They're obviously somebody better out there, or obviously not a good enough lover." And before you know it, you have told yourself so many things.
And it starts playing in your head, and it gets in there so deep. And well, if I was only younger, if I was only more bitter, richer. If I had money would have solved their issues. They would have loved me more. I wouldn't have been in a loveless, sexless marriage. And that's what I'm saying. If that goes back to prove my point. If she don't want to have sex with you because you're not making enough money, you're paying for it anyway. And I never understood that. And there's another lie. And they're like, well, I just won't give him any sex. He'll have to suffer without it. And I'm thinking, if you want to hold out and you wonder why he runs next door to whatever, and I'm thinking, and the lie they tell themselves is, well, I'm not going to do it. Ain't nobody else going to want him either. And I have seen Baptists that like it said, oh, I don't want him, but nobody else wants him either. He's lucky to be with me. And sooner or later, there's somebody swoops in and is like,
isn't it interesting you said that point? Because I was in a supermarket once, and I remember seeing a really nice looking guy, and he was with a woman, and she was really berating him. She was berating him, and everyone was looking at them. And normally you think, well, that I've seen so many men do that to women, but actually this was a woman doing it to a guy. And I actually felt really embarrassed. I felt really embarrassed. And you could see that he was trying to, I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good. It's fine. Yeah. And actually, I just wanted to go over to him and say, don't fucking put up with that. Like, but you can't. And I think that what happens is other people put their lies onto us, what they believe or what they think, and it's not always true. And then we take it, and then we get our own stuff, and then we build up this big picture, and it's like a wrecking ball. And also, one of the things that we do tell each other, and I've heard my mum say it, it's too old now. I'm too old to do that. It's too late. It's too far gone. I'm never going to be able to do this now. I've reached a point in my life. And sometimes that's true, right? And other times, because desire and change is risky.
It is. So it's uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's uncomfortable for change. Yeah. I don't like change. You know what I'm saying? But if any woman could go bungee jumping at her age or parachuting, it's your mom. I love her so much. She is such a strong woman.
But the thing is, like, we tell ourselves that we're too old. Because it's like, oh, it's a bit scary. I mean, maybe we are, or maybe we're not. But I remember going back to my mum in her 50s. She was like, oh no, I'm too past that now, too old. And I said, you're never too old. It's never too late, and you're never too far gone to actually try. And I think a lot of people are so comfortable that if they come out of their comfort zone, if they go out of their comfort area, if they come out of being with people that is safe, then it's like, oh, hang on, this is a bit scary. I'm not in my safe zone. So we tell ourselves, I'm too old for this.
Creatures of habit. And that's what's going
on. Ourselves, growing and perhaps enjoying something amazing.
It's like I said, and I hear, and like I said, it's a different generation. That's like the other night we had a phone call with her on. She still does incredibly well for her age. And I always tease her about getting her hair done or going out, and finding her a boyfriend, what I'm saying? I forget how old mom is, what I'm saying? But, she's like, oh no, way past my time for that, Michael. And she's so sweet. And I'm like, go out there. I said, there's some grandpa out there. I said, you'd be a real catch for her. Oh, no, I'll just stay here and take care of the cats. And I feel bad for her because, like I said, she's still spunky for her age. She still has her opinion. She still speaks her mind. But I've heard that from her too. Oh, I'm trying not to come back. Carlene just said,
Yeah,
your mom's a sweetheart. Everybody who meets Sheila loves Sheila.
Bringing up that point is that I have my mum sometimes, and I'm going to use this as an example. My mum says things like, "This is probably going to be my last year. This is probably going to be, and it's like,
it breaks my heart.
I don't want to hear that, Mum.
No.
And it's like, but these are the things we tell ourselves when perhaps we're not feeling well, we're having a rough time, and stuff like that. I think what I'm trying to say when we talked about this program is we are a sponge as a child, and we absorb so much information from our parents, caregivers, family, friends, etc. And then as we grow older, we then start passing out that information to other people, and they start like getting Velcro, they start getting it, and the next thing you know, they are passing it on. We need to actually look at ourselves and go, okay, what is the truth here? What is the real truth, and what is the absolute lie? Because when I was in that relationship, I knew what the truth was. 100,000% I knew what the truth was, but I wasn't ready to face reality. So I kept telling myself, it'll be fine. If I do this, maybe if I show that, maybe you'll do this, they will stay with me. They will love me. It will work out. What a crazy, crazy world we live in, that we'd rather stay in a relationship that is toxic for us rather than be on our own because of the lies we tell ourselves. And Michael, I don't know about you, but what's one of the lies that you tell yourself?
A lot of times it's like, oh, my mental health is fine. But I learned that from dealing with my previous career. Before, I used to be known as whatever. Now, like I said, and it's now I'm either the dog's dad or Michael Allen's dad, or whatever. But used to, people come to you, hey, how's things going? Doing well, good to go. All sectors are green, ready to roll. Because you knew if you would tell the truth, you could be sidelined, and nobody wants to be out of the fight. And I still tell myself that a lot of times, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm depressed, it'll pass. It's still good. I've got up, I fed myself, I fed the dogs.
You tell yourself that lie to get you through it.
Pretty much.
Because what would happen if you actually didn't tell yourself that?
Well, nobody be here to take care of the animals and the house or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and you tell yourself that, and it's like, oh, I'm not that depressed. It's good. I'm good. There's no manic days for me. But like I said, that comes from my previous career is, that you do not want anybody to think less of you because of mental health issues. And it's like, oh, I'm good. I'm up, I'm ready to go. And one of the lies, as we tell ourselves when we get older, is I can still do that. I'm, like I said, I'm 53 years old. I see bags of feed or whatever for like the animals or whatever. I'm like, if anybody knows, I've got pins and screws and cages in my back. I'm like, I could probably carry that once. And it puts me in the bed for like 3 days. But I still tell myself, I'm still that 20-year-old man that can heave up big bags of feed.
It's helping you. And for me, it's like, I want to emigrate, and I'm going to make it happen. It's going to happen. And I tell myself that every day.
We're waiting here with open arms.
And that doesn't mean to say that it won't happen, but it's like, I have to keep telling myself that, because otherwise I go down a road, a rabbit hole that I actually don't want to go down. And I wanted to bring up some points that I wrote, and it was like, we don't wake up one day and decide to lie to ourselves. We don't wake up and go, today's the day I'm going to lie. We inherit the stories, we absorb them, we survive, they keep us going, they keep us safe, and we become sometimes grateful, agreeable, strong, etc., etc. And for a while, those lies that we tell ourselves, they protect us and they help us navigate places that we're not ready to go into yet. There's a room there and I'm not ready to open that door yet. I'm not ready to go into it. So they help us sort of like stay in a protective way. And sometimes they help us survive, as we said, heartbreak, illness, betrayal, disappointment, and they keep us functioning. So in some ways they're a safe thing to have. They're a good thing to have as well, as long as they don't become too much and they take over us, because nobody wants to live a lie.
And like I said, that goes back to the delusion. And sometimes you paint such a rosy picture of yourself or what is happening or what's going to happen that you lose track of reality. And then when that bubble gets busted, everybody on the planet hates you or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Then everybody becomes your enemy because somebody has busted your, perceived reality that you have put around you. And I'm like, and if I could tell anybody anything, be true to their own self first. There's a saying or something like that. And you got to be true to who you are and what your expectations are.
Sure.
And, and that way you don't have to lie to yourself. If you got limitations with health or any kind of health, which physical, it is. And I have found out later in life, the more true I am to myself, the smoother things go. That I'm not projecting some fake fantasy reality, because hopes and dreams don't pay the light bill. It don't put money on the gas meter. It don't put gas in your car.
That's true.
And it don't buy food for you and your fur babies. And I'm like, you got to look at, what I'm saying? Like my mom used to say, you cannot have a millionaire lifestyle when you got a damn bottom beer budget, And it's like,
champagne money on champagne lifestyle and lemonade money or something like that.
Yeah, on a beer budget. Yeah, you cannot drink champagne on a beer budget. Yeah, and I tell people that, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, the quicker you learn not to live outside your means, and tell yourself, oh, everything's good here. I'll make it up later. And I've seen people do that. Oh, if I take this money that I have for my rent or for my light bill and I buy this, I can make it up later. Later never comes.
Well, that's a good point. And I wanted to say before, because we're ending the show early, well, not early, but we're ending it on time tonight because I don't feel great. But there was a couple of things I wanted to say, Michael, with to leave from tomorrow. I want everybody who's watching this, or anybody who ever watches this show, whenever they watch it, to actually watch themselves, listen to themselves, and listen to other people. When people say, it's okay, I'm fine, I don't care, I'll sort it, it's going to be great, blah, 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 and just wonder if that really is the truth. And just remember that survival is not the same as freedom. At some time, that lie is going to start to itch. It's going to start to go, hang on a minute, I'm not happy being a lie anymore. And I found this quote and I just wanted to say it. You feel it when you swallow words that you need to say. You feel it when you shrink a dream so that nobody feels threatened by it. You feel it when you call yourself too much instead of asking why you were taught to be less. And the truth is, you were never too emotional, never too perceptive, never demanding. You were asking for reciprocity. I can never say that word. You were never selfish for wanting more. You were evolving. And I heard this quote and I thought to myself, that is so true, because the lies we tell ourselves are often old survival strategies that are wearing a face. It's fine. I love them. They love me. It's going to be all right.
It reminds me of that antidepressant commercial that they used to show here in the States. I know they can't show I know they don't show medical commercials in the UK, but they had like a fake smile and they'd hold it up in front of their face. It's like, it's all good. And there's a lot of people who wear that fake facade on the outside. And that's what it is. It's facade. It's all smoke and mirrors. And once you can get past that, I think you're better off. And on the same time, now that I've got past that, I've had to dial it back because a lot of times I'm too honest with people. And, and I'm trying to get better at that because I don't want to crush hopes and dreams and spirits. But when I see people doing stupid stuff, I used to let it go. But anymore, they just get it, boom, straight.
The thing is, when you don't owe loyalty to a lie or a story that keeps you small, you're allowed to outgrow it. You're allowed to rewrite it. You're allowed to become the version that you want to be.
That's it.
And you know what? I think all of us should have better standards for each other. We should actually go, why am I lying? Why am I not telling the truth? Why am I believing this old crap that's going round and round in my head? The real danger is staying putting up with, or silent when you know the truth. When your body, because you know what, you're in a relationship and you have an argument with someone and you go like this and you fold your arms and you're protecting yourself. You physically don't even know you're doing it, but you're protecting yourself.
Body language, But
when you do it mentally, it's a different thing. So what I'm trying to say from this show tonight is start to question the lies that you tell yourselves or the lies that you hear from other people when you know that it's probably coming from that sort of place. And the moment you start questioning it is when I think you really start to come home to yourself. Michael, I don't know about you, but I need to start. I have a few ones that I tell myself because I'm not ready to be in that place, and I've got ones that I've got rid of, and I'm starting to be there. So I mean, it really is just to show that we heard this thing the other day and we were like, how many times do people say that to each other? It's bullshit. It's like, what's that thing from Forgetting Sarah Marshall where she says it's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It really is. Like sometimes we tell ourselves such load of crap when we know the truth and it's looking right at us.
It's an economy of bullshit, and it seems like it feeds itself. It is a self-prophesying future. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I'm like, no. But before I forget, if you're watching it on my Facebook, please come to the YouTube channel because I had a lot of views on the YouTube channel. Speaking of that, I'm saying delusion. I'm like, I got all these here, and I'm thinking, I need to figure out how to get these people over to the YouTube channel to like, share, and subscribe. And I know Wendy's not feeling well. I wanted to get that in before we end. But like I said, we love our extended weekend family. That's why we come on every Sunday. She's not feeling great, as you can tell by my snuffing.
I'm not feeling great. But we
told ourselves is we're fine. It's Sunday.
Fine. I'm fine.
We're fine. We can do an hour. We can do an hour. We can do 2 hours if we have to.
No,
we're what I'm saying, we're fine. I'll take enough medication. My nose will feel better. My head will unclog. I don't need a house on my back.
I just want to bring up a couple of things that Scotty does this thing at the end of his show. He comes up with a few quotes. I thought about it the other day and I thought, and I wanted to leave people with something when they leave the show tonight. It's like, when we're born, we're not born to make ourselves small.
No.
We're not born to just be grateful for the minimum, and you're not born to be palatable, right? I'm an acquired taste. No, you're who you are. Everyone is born with an instinct, a gut instinct. Everyone's born with their own fire, and everyone's born with their own voice in their head that says, you need to listen to me, because if you don't, I'm going to get louder and louder and louder. And the next thing you know, you're not going to be able to ignore me. And when you start speaking your truth, other people don't like it because you're now unsettling their lies, or perhaps you're unsettling their version of what they wanted you to be, or their version of their life. Those that really love and encourage you and empower you will go, absolutely, let's do something about this, let's make it happen. Those that want the old story, they will actually be, what are you saying that for? It will be A lie keeps a lot of people safe. A lie keeps a lot of relationships together. And a lie stops a lot of people from growing. But
misery loves company. Misery loves company. You know, and if you get rid of your lie, that means they have to start embracing and kind of bunking their lies. And you know, that's the reason I'll tell you, oh no, don't worry about that. You're good. You know, and I'm like, and you'll lose a lot of friends when you start breaking out of your cocoon and becoming the butterfly that we're all meant to be in this world.
100%, 100, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, not all caterpillars make it into butterflies. They don't. Some of them fall ways. And you're talking about the sayings. What is it? Some people are in your life for a reason, a season.
A reason, season, or lifetime. So as we end this show tonight, before we go to all the bits and bobs, ask yourself, is this lie protecting me, and what is it protecting me from? Or is it limiting me? The bravest thing you'll ever do in life, Michael, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, is tell yourself the truth. Even if you don't want to hear it, even if it's ugly, even if it's going to shatter people's view of you, the bravest thing you'll ever do is tell yourself the truth. Even if it shakes everything up, even if it shifts everything, even if it changes everything, maybe that's what it has to do, because the moment you start living your truth and stop lying to yourself and being brave, because it takes a lot of strength sometimes to actually admit that actually this is not working, I don't feel good, this is the way it is. It takes a lot of change, but maybe that's the point. Maybe you have to change everything for things to get better. I really hope people got something from the show. It is a very different show from what we had last week. We are bringing people on, doing guests, and then other subjects as well, because you know, we don't want to get bored. But
No.
we do have some amazing guests coming up. We have the lovely and I'm, you know, Charlie Hall, she's going to be joining us in April. She's fantastic. We also have the lovely Jason Kenzie joining us in March, so not long to go. And obviously, I'm hoping that when I go out to Canada, if I get there, I will get there, the lovely Dwayne Klassen will join us as well.
We'll make his return. A remarkable man.
He's out there as well. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the show tonight. Michael and I do our best. We don't always feel great, but we do our best to do a show. And it just, if it takes you away from life and what's going on for an hour or so too, then that's a good thing. I'm going to bring up our little banner like here. Let me see. It's this one here.
What is it? We're the little beacon of hope. We're the little lighthouse of love and acceptance. You know,
I wanted to show people this because people see it behind us. We're changing a lot of things about Wicked Women. This is sort of the new banner. We might tweak it a bit more, but this is sort of the new banner that we're going to for Wicked Women. We also have this lovely picture as well, which I'll bring up as well behind us. So Val and I are and Michael have all been like looking at different things and experimenting with it as well. We will be back next Sunday. I hope one of these days Val will be back, and I'm sure she will. I have to say
prayers for her, because Val's really hurting really bad. And,
she's having
we don't want
with that.
But I was going to say, if anybody has any recommendations for somebody that'd like to come on, you know, send it to me or Wendy.
Send us an email.
You know, you can find us. Yeah, because we was trying to figure out how to get a hold of Steve the other day.
We did. We got hold
of him. And we don't know how to get a hold of Steve. So
you can find our email. It's on the YouTube page. If you go down and it says, I think it's wickedwomen888@gmail.com. I will be back, God willing, healthy, on Thursday with Robertson. I have a little thing here which I can probably give you a sneak preview. It's just a quick one. It's not the actual promo, but let's bring it up and see what it comes out like.
Yeah.
Royals who nearly broke the crown. Yeah,
That is up to date, newsworthy.
Very topical. We actually did a Robertson a couple of years ago, and it was about the Heir and Spare, which obviously was quite interesting. And I spoke to Scotty yesterday, and we decided that we are going to be looking at royals who nearly broke the crown, and of course, it will bring in present day events that are actually going on right now.
Who was the British king that stepped down because he wanted to marry an American actress?
Was it Edward VII, Edward VIII, something like that? I always think
if somebody could Google that, but I always thought that woman must have really had a spell for the man to give up the crown and the throne.
Absolutely.
Talking about womanly wiles. There you go.
I mean, like that's just a quick flashy promo, but we are looking at Henry VIII, Charles I, and other such kings until we come to present day as well. It's going to be a really good show. Scotty and I bounce off each other when it comes to history as well. So please come and watch Robertson on Roberts N. Robertson YouTube channel. You can find us there. And also join us on Wicked Women next Sunday, and you'll find us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And somewhere we have a TikTok. We were talking about doing a weekday, weren't we? A weekday live. Yes.
I'll get up early just for you. Nobody else, just for you. Yeah. I have to convince the dog to let me up.
It's like, interesting because when I did Robertson last time, we came from the Wicked Women studios, and now we're coming in from this Thursday from Captain's Cabin. And I'm working on new images and stuff for Wicked Women as well. It's all exciting. It's all new stuff. But I'm really excited to do that show, and I'm really excited because we have some amazing shows coming up with Wicked Women. And I know Charlie Hall and Jason Kenzie are going. And if you like Bigfoot and things like that, you might be interested with Jason.
Tell Terry. Terry will be all over that. We could never get Uncle Terry here because he's always naughty. He'd rather be watching hockey or the Olympics. He don't love us that much no more.
That's okay. Let's bring us back into.
But I was going to say, I need some recommendations for my studio. She's got the Wicked Women studio. He's got the Captain's Cabin. I'm redoing the studio here behind me. I'm trying to clone the picture that Wendy made of me in Poseidon. I'm thinking, I cannot do that justice. It needs a woman's touch. We got a lot of things here, but a woman's touch we do not have.
Well, I can't stretch my hands that far, sadly.
No,
but Michael, thank you so much for coming on. And you have, Val's been gone for a while now. And, I have said to Val that she may come on every other week because she's still getting, healing, getting better. And I guess she'll tell us what she's doing. And also, Michael has been amazing coming on and taking over from Val about all kinds of subjects. And I want to thank everyone else for coming on, leaving comments. I just want to say to Steve, to Carlene, to Barbara, to Hawk, who I just seen very briefly there, and Field Guy, and anyone else that I have not said thank you to. Thanks so much for supporting us. We will be back, won't we, Michael, next week?
Absolutely. Yeah, but and that's like I told him. I said, if I have to get help to be drugged into this chair by the dog, I will get up here. I will put my black shirt on. I will sit in front of the mic because it's Sunday, and it's not Sunday without a bit of Wicked in your life.
It's not Sunday without a bit of Wicked. And we'll be back. Tell us the times we'll be back next week, Michael.
It's 4:00 Eastern, 3:00 Central, 2:00 Mountain, 1:00 Pacific Coast time, and 9:00 in the UK.
9:00.
And if you cannot tell that she's from London, UK, and not London, Kentucky, you're not from around here.
Don't adjust her. I'm English.
But you know what, Chris? You can go to Kentucky. You can go to Paris. You can go to London. I've been to both of them, and it's nothing like what it's named after. Because they talk a lot like me, and they're very happy to see you over here. But no.
One of these days, Michael. One of these days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm taking donations to get a big redneck over in the UK. I think they need a little bit of Michael in the UK to help them straighten out all the stuff they got going over there.
I certainly think.
But I was going to tell you, breaking the crown or whatever. You know, I watch GB News, and I know you feel like crap, and so do I. But I was going to tell you,
It's so quick, that promo, doesn't it? It's really
it
quick.
does. And but I heard something really interesting on that. Talking about the lies we tell ourselves. Right now, I bet the formerly guy known as Prince, whatever his name is telling himself, "Oh, it's all fine. They won't find all the emails." Then they show the picture of him in the car laid back, like, "Holy fuck, they found him." You know, the last time a royal was arrested in the UK, he lost his head. Because he said, you know, I'm like, you know, he went from like, "Oh, my brother's the king. I'm all good." The king's like, you know, do what you got to do. You know, you
It's interesting because Holly and I dealt with a lot of relationships.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, holy shit.
And I think that it's kind of nice that we're going to deal with some other stuff.
Yeah.
Relationship too. It is going to be a good show. Please join us. As I say, then again, Robertson YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram for Robertson. And you can find Wicked Women AAA on YouTube as well. Michael, have a wonderful week. I'm going to take us out. I'm going to take our banner out. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a safe week and hopefully a healthy one. And we'll see you all next week.